Damn, 5 parts. By a show of hands, who was bored already? I'm raising my hand, by the way. You can't see me, but I'm raising my hand for this. This is getting out of hand. Um, but stay tuned. I have a surprise for you at the end. I'm going to shut my mouth and have you guys watch a really cool time lapse that I made while taking the white Tesla apart. And guess what? I don't talk for the entire thing. Um, that's not a surprise anymore, is it? I basically told you what it was. But that's how I get down. No surprises, okay? This is probably gonna be the second to last installment of this series because it's getting kind of long in the tooth, and I don't want people to start losing interest, which I'm sure they already have at this point. This episode is gonna focus on the teardown and the disposal of the white Tesla that gave its life and existence to make Dolores. This is a very important car. It's a shame I didn't name it. If you want to name it, go ahead and shoot something in the comments, but the car's already gone. So before I go any further, there's a couple things that I want to address. And that's one of the things is the most popular question I get is that people always ask how much I spent. And that's an episode in itself. I've dropped a couple knowledge nuggets here and there as to what the last dollar amount was, but that's only in response to comments on my YouTube pages. So not the entire group has been able to see it. You have to really sift through to see those. So I'm going to make a separate video. It won't be very long about how much I spent on making Dolores from nothing to something. So number two, thank you to all the subscribers and comments and shares and likes and Patreons. That's really cool. I appreciate that. And just to let you know, I'm planning on getting a GoPro Hero 5 down the line because it has the image stabilization. So my viewers don't get seizures while looking at my videos because I move around a lot. I'm always, I have the GoPro in my hand. I'm trying to do things, fix things, take things apart. And I don't have a friend to hold it for me. Actually, I have Sean, but Sean lives like 3 days away. So that's the other thing there. So thank you for all that. I really appreciate it. It's very helpful. Number three, the Tesla buy parts sell trade is blowing up. So thanks for that. It went from 250 people to over 400 in a matter of days. So that's not for me. That's for you, by the way. If you need parts or you bought a salvage car and need some help, just post it up. It's a pretty good group there, pretty knowledgeable group. People could help you out. I could help you out. There's a lot of really smart people on there. Maybe a few Tesla hackers. I don't know. Maybe you might get surprised. Who knows what you're going to get? So, post up there if you need some parts, need a little trinket in the trunk, or, your headliner's falling down, you need a headliner. Just shoot up there. It's a good alternative to eBay. I mean, it's not that big yet. It hasn't reached that widespread of an audience, but it's growing, so that's good. So thank you for that. Again, my Instagram if you want to see what I do in my spare time. And also my buddy Sean's YouTube page. It's not really Tesla related, but he may have occasional Tesla content. All my cars are at his house. And he actually vlogged taking my Tesla shell to the scrapyard. So check that video out too. If you're too lazy to subscribe to his channel, that's okay, because I'll just download his footage and upload it on my own channel anyways. Because I'm a jerk. But anyways, throw him a bone. You send him throw him a few comments on this video and shoot him a like here and there. He's trying to grow his page, so give him a shout. All right, so where was I? Okay, quick rant. Now, one of the things that really bugged me, and this is not car related, so feel free to fast forward through this. But you can't because you don't know when the actual talk, so it doesn't matter. You have to listen to this pretty much. Anyway, so one of my biggest pet peeves is people failing to mind their own damn business. I swear this world would be a far, far, far better place if people just kept to themselves, minded their business, and stopped trying to give their opinion on everything. I mean, just let people do them, mind your business, and you do what you need to make yourself happy, okay? Provided it's not hurting anyone or doing anything illegal. But anyways, so I was riding my one wheel on the sidewalk, and I transitioned to the street. I wasn't wearing a helmet, and I was going about 8 miles an hour, and this biker flies out of nowhere and bangs on his helmet. It's just like, hey, buddy, hey, try a helmet, buddy, try a helmet, buddy. Starts screaming at me, okay? How about you try a helmet, buddy, over and over again. And of course he's on a bike. And I can never figure out why people on bikes moving faster than you are so tough. I mean, I swear people on bikes are the toughest people on earth because you can't catch them. Okay? Now, why he chose not to leave those comments to himself, I'll never know. But dude, just shut up, okay? Nobody asks you your opinion on anything. I don't smoke, okay? But I don't approach smokers and say, "Hey, smoking is bad for you." You know that, right? They're grown adults and they know the risks. It'd be one thing if he said, "Hey, my friend died because he wasn't wearing a helmet in a biking accident, so be careful out there." And I would have said, "You know what? Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. But your friend died because he's weak." I'm just kidding. His friend probably died because the impact of his skull hitting the ground at such a high rate of speed probably caused a concussion, internal bleeding. But that's probably why he died, not because he was weak. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking about death again. So, anyways, so I know the risks of not wearing a helmet. Why you choose to say that, I have no idea. And this is one of the problems I have. It goes a little bit deeper. This is real life isn't YouTube, okay? I don't have a sign on my back saying, "Hey, yeah, leave me unsolicited advice." Okay, I'm not asking for anyone's opinion on anything. In real life. On YouTube, yeah, because I have a comment section. That's what it's for. It's like me approaching a woman saying, "Hey, you know what? I think your pants are too tight." Who am I to say that? Just mind your business. If someone chooses not to wear a seatbelt, I'm okay with that. Okay. However, I don't want to hear that seatbelt chime. If you're a passenger in my car and you choose not to wear a seatbelt, that's okay. But if I hear that chime, I'm going to get mad. Actually, no. Actually, no, I take that back. If you're a passenger in my car, and it's a side collision, actually the passenger, the occupant, is probably going to get knocked over to my side and probably going to crush me to death. And that would piss me off, okay? So buckle up in my car. I take that back. Buckle up in my car, because if you get hit and your body starts flying all over the place and you crush my face, I'm going to get mad. So if you're in my car, wear a seatbelt. I take that back. But yeah, and it may not make any sense to anyone, but I just choose, yeah, it's kind of dumb, but I choose not to wear a helmet when I'm on my skateboard. And I know the risk. I understand. I'm an adult. And, when I get into a major accident and I crack my skull on the pavement, it's okay. You know why that's okay? Because um, I have a lot of footage that I haven't yet released. Okay? So my video guy is going to slowly release that footage. So you will still be entertained long after I'm dead. I'm like Tupac. In case you didn't know, Tupac was a rapper that died 20 something odd years ago, but mysteriously he has new music appearing every so often. All right. So I have unreleased footage for you that will be shown after my death. You're probably saying to yourself, "Okay, this guy's weird. What about your kids and the wife?" But you know what? They're going to be fine, because my wife is still young. She's good looking, and she can easily find someone to sleep with her. No problem. And take over my role as a parent. I mean, put it this way. If I were to die, the next person, they'd get a nice house, they'd get a nice vet, they'd get a Tesla, they get a cool pickup truck, a nice lifted pickup truck with 33 mud tires on it, to go to Home Depot. Not to go in actual mud, but just to go to Home Depot to get sheetrock, to have a contractor install for you. So there's not really that much work to do, honestly. I did all the work on my end. I did all the work up front to make it easier on the next person. All right. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, so this episode, there'll be no comment of the week. Someone told me I should stop doing it, and you guys run the show, so there's no comment of the week. And the other day, my wife was walking around the house, all dolled up, and I was like, "Damn, baby, what's up? You smell so sweet. You're looking good, girl. What's up? How about we, you know." And I got typical response: "Don't look at me like that. You disgust me. Don't come near me." The usual, right? But I was ready this time. I said, "All right, if you want to act up, there's a 20-year-old boy in Norway Looking for some chocolate, all right? Oh, yeah. You see that? You like how I snuck in the comment of the weekend there, huh? You don't control me. You don't. I do what I want. But yeah, this kid says, "Hey, what's up?" I use that as leverage for my um, some comments with my wife, and it didn't work. She doesn't care, so sorry, buddy. It's not gonna work out. You're too far away, man. And that, and I'm not gay. I think that's the big thing. Um, but I don't know. Are you rich? Are you like a Norwegian prince or something? I mean, I don't swing that way, but I can be convinced. Let's see what's up. Jesus. You know, this is why I'll never amount to anything because if someone were to approach my wife and say, "Yeah, your husband's in a Norwegian jail for soliciting sex to a 20-year-old boy in Norway," which actually turned out to be an undercover cop, she'd say, "No freaking way, not my husband." They'd say, "No, he flew there. The boy told him he was a prince." And then she'd think about it. She'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe, maybe that was him." Oh, I'm such a fool. Okay, that was 11 minutes wasted. All right, so there's always going to be one guy that's going to look at the time and post and see when I actually started talking about Tesla stuff. And I don't know if that bugs me or not because I see that in a lot of videos, and sometimes when they rant and I really don't care, there'll be that one guy that says, that everyone says, "You're the real MVP," that actually posts when the cool stuff starts happening. So I probably expect that. All right. So just to let you know, around the 12-minute mark is when I actually start talking about relevant Tesla information. So I'm gonna wait a few seconds until the actual 12 mark. The 12. Okay. So I left off the last episode with a semi-stripped Model S, and let's pop off the rear chargers located at the back of the car under the seat, and it looks so clean without the salt. You're looking at the high voltage junction box right now, and I also discovered the car has dual chargers for an increased charging rate. Now, this is about 20 minutes later, and that's where the um, chargers were, and that's not Gatorade, by the way. That's actually coolant. So that's coolant that goes to the chargers in the rear, and there are coolant pumps up front that cycle the coolant to the chargers out back. But I think this is a great opportunity for a photo op too, because you could look at the difference between the saltwater flooded one and a regular one, and it's pretty wild actually. I really like taking these photos so you could see them side by side in similar poses, so you could see just how crazy the saltwater corrosion was. And in this episode, I really want to stress the fact that this is this was an insane undertaking. I mean, people usually rate things, with difficulty from, 1 to 10. This was a 10 because a lot of people will say, "Hey, it's just easy. You just swap wiring harnesses and you call this a day. You pull out this, pull out that." But the amount of work that goes into this, there's so many logistics that go into this that people don't realize. People don't realize that you have to find a place to store the cars. You have to find a place to store the parts. And I'm going to get some more into that later. When people think, "Oh, I want to do a salvage Tesla Model S, I want to take a crashed one and I want to take a flooded one and swap components," just keep watching and you'll see just how difficult this really was. Okay. Now, again, I enjoy taking these photos. They're pretty cool. And after I got those rear charges out, I decided to go to the front end of the vehicle. Now, working on the front end of a crashed car it's not easy to do because in a lot of cases you have to use a cutting wheel to separate fused metal pieces from the accident. With very basic tools, because if the car is not located at your home, you're kind of in a tough spot. So the front was all cracked up due to the accident. Obviously, I mean, there's broken fiberglass everywhere and plastic. The front was actually cut in half due to the crash too. It was pretty smack up in the front, and there's lots of broken metal bits. I had to remove the front K member to get access to stuff I needed, and I'm halfway through this, and it starts pouring. Remember, this car isn't enclosed in the least bit. It's literally sitting in a yard, in a tow yard, and it starts pouring nonstop. And due to the pouring, everything just got soaked, obviously, and I keep carrying on, moving more and more parts. And the goal that night, it was about probably 2 a.m. that picture was taken, was to get as much stuff as I could to get off the car, off the car, remove from the tow yard and bring it my home. And again, I was trying to lighten the car because these cars really suck to tow loaded. So by stripping it, I thought it would make things easier, which it really did, because it's you carrying 4,500 something odd pounds versus carrying a shell that's only about 1,000 or 1,500 or so. So it's funny. Look at this picture. It looks like the damn car exploded. I mean, literally exploded. But I finally got the front end out, and the front cradle that includes the steering rack, front suspension components, sway bar, upper controller arms, lower control arms. I mean, this was heavy as hell, and I did it myself. It's not an easy task at all. I mean, a lot of these things are heavy lifting. You should have a friend next to you, but I'm a beast, so I just threw my back out, lifting it in the back of my truck. And it's funny because it's so heavy, and I was so turned off by having to take it out of the bed of my truck. I just left it there for a matter of days, So I went to Home Depot. I went shopping with it, and I had some grass seed there next to it, just because I didn't really feel like taking it out. It was super heavy. So removing the front wiring harness was the next day, and until the very late night, I had to use my pickup truck for extra lighting. The interesting part was that the AC still had pressure too. So this was very delicate. You can't just release this into the atmosphere because, one, it's dangerous, and against the law. And the high pressure, it's under tons of pressure, and it could ruin your day. So I had my friend use a machine to extract all of it before I brought it home, because once I took those components off, the last thing I want to do was starting unscrewing them and having the high pressure lines just kind of release that stuff into my face. And I was ready to bring it home. There's a couple more things I needed off of it, but I got the dreaded phone call saying, "Hey, buddy, this thing's got to get out of here now. It's got to go." So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get it out of there. It's pretty light. The drive unit's out. The battery's out. I brought the battery out a couple days before. I dragged that onto a trailer with a come along, a winch, what have you, a manually operated winch, and that got to my house. But it's really cool. In the time lapse, you'll see how I did all that stuff. So stay tuned for the time lapse. It's actually really neat. I'm kind of proud of it. So I'm like, okay, well, the car's got to go. I understand that. The reason why I had to go is kind of funny too, because a lot of people were asking questions around it, and because it's a public tow yard, so people were asking questions like, why is this here? And it was attracting a lot of unwanted attention. So his boss said it had to go. So I'm like, okay, buddy, you have a forklift? He's like, no, it's not working right now. And I'm like, well, how are we gonna get it on the trailer? It doesn't roll, etc. He's like, I don't know, but it's got to go. So because I'm a wannabe engineer, I ended up jacking the rear of the car up as high as it'll go on jack stands, and backing my trailer up underneath until the car rested on it. And then after that, I just used the come along and the winch to pull the car up under the trailer, which is also in the coming up in that time lapse for you guys. The time lapse, it's a decent amount of length long, so just really study it. Feel free to watch it a couple times to see, some of the details I may have left out with how I did certain things. So it's really cool. I mean, the come along method wasn't that bad because it doesn't really weigh much. I took the heavy stuff out before, as I said. But the problem is, now that I have it on the truck, how am I going to get it off the trailer now that it's home? I ended up bringing the car home. I don't have a forklift. I don't have an anchoring point to pull it off. You tell me. How would you guys get this off a trailer with no anchoring point to pull it off? You have no forklift. You have nothing. Anyone? Going once, twice, 3 times? Geometry. Okay? I use angles and math, baby. Yeah, I use some math. Okay? Now, if you look at this picture, what I ended up doing, and the picture following this will give you a real visual representation as to how this was done. Now, I have an engine crane, and I ended up tying the engine crane chain to the back of the Tesla. I pumped a few times, and I was able to get the rear end off of the trailer using that engine crane. Then what I did was I used a jack to jack up the middle of the car to essentially raise the shell off of the trailer. And this is something really neat coming up in the time lapse as well, because I essentially lifted up the car about 5 inches above the trailer, and then I used my truck to slowly pull the trailer out from underneath the Tesla. And here's the end result. That's pretty wild. Check that out, huh? I mean, this is one of the craziest things I've done. I mean, this thing is not light by any means, and that engine crane chain is pulled like it's pulled to the max. That engine crane is doing some serious work. And then I realized, wait a second, oh, disaster is striking. The car started leaning because the anchor point in the front was a very small point. The jack wasn't in the perfect center of the car, so it started leaning. It started leaning more and then even more, you know. But I figured it out. It's not a big deal. I slowly started letting the car down until it hit the floor. I put dollies underneath the car with giant pieces of wood underneath it. And the next day I got it in my garage, so no one died, so that was totally fine. Um, but I slowly got to work on it. That's the before picture, and then this is the after picture after maybe about a day or so, getting the doors off and a couple other miscellaneous things. But but yeah, I ended up bringing a lot of that stuff to storage. I took the a door, two doors, and the rear hatch out, and I was driving by. People must saw the Tesla logo, and I got pulled over by the cops. The the cop wanted to know, hey, what you're doing there? What are those parts for, et cetera, et cetera. And I just told him, I part these things out and rebuild them, et cetera. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever, go on, have a good day. So that was relatively simple. But now that the car's taken apart, it was fully stripped. And again, the time lapse, you'll see how I was able to strip it fully and put it onto the trailer. But the shell was fully stripped. I sold the shell to a friend of mine that helps me buy these cars, and I ended up bringing it to New Jersey. And it's funny, it was such a great trip. My daughter and I, we went together, and we had a really good time because halfway through the trip, I realized I didn't have my wallet, but I had cash, and it was so funny because I only had about maybe $20 in cash, and I still had to get gas for the truck. I think it was like maybe $30. I still had to get cash for the truck. I mean, gas for the truck. And we had a really cool adventure to see if we could make it to New Jersey and back with a loaded pickup truck, and no credit card pay for gas or any food or anything. So it was a really interesting and fun trip. We had a blast together. It was one of my really happy time sharing moments with her. So we brought it to New Jersey, and they forklifted it off the truck. And it's unfortunate I didn't get a chance to see if they really got to wait for it. I asked them if they had a scale in the forklift, and they said no. But um, it was still pretty cool watching them take it off to see how they do it. But this shell was actually shipped to Minnesota to my buddy there because he was planning on repairing another car. He wasn't going to use the front end at all. He just wanted to use the rear. The rear quarter panels were good, and so was the sunroof. Didn't have any cracks in it, so that was perfect for him. I almost wish I didn't remove so much glass from it because removing the glass was a real pain to do. It was pretty challenging. The glass cuts you up, and it's really messy. But that's really it. I just wanted to blast through this episode to show you guys, you know, guys or girls, whatever you identify as, to show you all how to, how the whole white car process went. It was a very long and involved process. In the previous episode to this, I kind of scratched the surface, but this was a pretty big component of Dolores' rebuild, because I really needed this car to do to do a lot of things that I did. So, but yeah, that's really it. So why don't we go ahead, and I'm gonna roll this awesome time lapse footage, and this will bring you towards the end of this part, and then there is one more part after this. So watch this episode 2 or 3 times if you want. But this is likely going to be the second to last one. The next episode is going to bring us into Dolores' current state. Because remember, through this entire process, I have not put a single part on Dolores. This episode and the prior episodes was me tearing Dolores down and then tearing down this car. So the next episode in the series, and the final one, will focus on some of the issues I faced assembling Dolores, and also a really cool time lapse of events at the end of that video, showing how the natural progression of the car was as I started putting more stuff on. But anyways, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep the comments coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the shares and subscribes and likes and donations. It's really cool, you guys. I have a lot of really neat content coming up for you guys, and not just a typical, hey, guess what? I charged my car today. Some really just different stuff. I want to bring a different dynamic into this, and I don't really want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to show you guys, that you all can do this too. This is a definite possibility for people that want to rebuild these cars, and I'm hoping maybe one day I'll get my hands on a Model 3 and I'll tear one of those down to see what comes from those. And just remember, this is not just a Tesla channel. I have a Z06 as well, so I may try to slowly and strategically slip some Z06 content into this, because I know it's an ICE car and you guys typically don't like ICE cars, because this is primarily a Tesla channel. Most of my followers are from a Tesla origin, but I just want to show you all that I have multiple cars, and I can respect the ICE, and I can respect the EV components as well. So just stay tuned. Again, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's roll that time lapse footage. Hey, before I go any further, let's stop this music for a second. I just realized something, that I kept referring to that person that said I was sexy. I thought he was from Norway. He's actually from Poland. So I would have went to the wrong place. That could have been a disaster. So I'm just clearing that up right now. And also, don't forget the Patreon. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And donations are always welcome. Patreon's in the link below. And take it easy.